everyone, welcome back to Tilted Table at TwitchCon Live. I'm super excited to be here, mainly because I've been busy all day and y'all have been streaming without me. So I am Jordan, aka Axel Hellfire. I am joined by two people who are not on stream as often on our stream, but they are in our stream. We have John, aka Rogue Logic. We have Daftaro here as well, and we are going to be playing a new game that none of us have played before called Skyward. This game was kindly provided to us by the publisher Rule and Make, and there are 3 copies of it here at TwitchCon to be giving it away to lucky people who play the game this weekend. So if you're at TwitchCon, if you're going to be at TwitchCon another day, you have a chance to win this game. If not, you can watch us play it now and learn about it, and we are super excited to show it to you. So, since none of us have played before, we're going to have to kind of go through the rulebook a little bit. What I understand of the game so far is that it actually kind of feels like a little bit Euphoria in some ways. There's like 4 different factions that are sort of trying to build together, and you are basically building an airborne city, which is why it's called Skyward. So what we're going to do here is we have, this is a game about card drafting and then stacking of cards. Because you're building a building, so the cards kind of get stacked on top of each other. What we're going to do here is we've set up the game. This is the easy part. The way this game works is I'm going to be the first player for now, so I have what's called the Warden token. And the Warden token will normally take a cog from the central pile. I'm going to check to see if that happens on the first turn or only later. I think it's only later, not the first person. Okay, so the way the first turn works is we do something called the split. And what that means is we're going to take cards off of the deck, and we're going to deal out 12 of them. And I believe that they're all going to be in separate piles. Okay, so we're going to make 3 cards of separate piles. Let's see if they're face up or face down. Oh, I see. They're all going to be visible the way it looks. So, so we have 1, 2, 3. So we have 3 piles to choose from, and these piles are going to get built up by the additional cards as we go. So, like that, and then we'll talk about what these cards mean before we make any decisions here.
So are all those being randomly drawn from a random deck?
Yep, exactly.
Okay.
Yep, we've shuffled this to begin with.
Okay.
All right, so that's 9, so we need 1 more for each.
I see airships, clock towers.
Exactly.
Factions. Okay.
So the way this is going to work is once we actually know what we're doing, I'm going to place the Warden token on one of these piles, and whoever gets that pile will get the Warden token. We'll keep it earlier. Whenever you take the Warden token, you will get a cog, which is useful as like an extra way to buy things. I think.
Okay.
So we're each starting with, I believe, 2. So the player to the Warden's left will have the first pick of stacks, and then it will go around so the Warden has the last pick. But before we do that, let's talk about what these cards mean and what we're actually trying to do. So in the upper left-hand part of many of the cards, you will have what's called a launch cost.
Launch cost?
Yeah, so it'll have some symbols that you basically need to pay. I'm assuming that cards like these are actually cards that you spend.
Okay.
Which I'll get to in a second. Those are faction cards. So the launch costs are symbols for the various 4 factions. You're going to have a card type, such as building, vehicle, building. It looks like just buildings and vehicles. You're going to have the number of victory points in the bottom left.
Bottom left, okay.
For those cards. You're going to have just the card name on the left, so airship, assembly line, wall, etc. And then you're going to have an effect type, which is the symbol in the bottom left by the victory points. Let's see if we have them all. Yeah, so this little tent-like triangle symbol here is a launch. So launch effects are triggered on launch, and then the text for the effect is there. Score effects provide additional victory points at the end of the game, and those are the flags. Like this. The circle arrow, the cycle symbol, is an ongoing effect, so it's a continuous effect. And then the instant, which is the lightning bolt, means instant cards do not go into your hand and must be played immediately from the split. So when you take that deck, you immediately play the instant card.
In the deck, in that stack.
From that pile, yeah. All right, so let's talk about faction cards. So you have the card name as before. You have the card count, which tells you how many copies of this card there are in the game, so you know whether or not it's rare.
Is that this?
Yeah.
Okay.
So this faction maker has 6 copies in the game, but this faction elite collective, that's the only one.
Right.
So it's same with the clock tower. So all the cards actually have this, so you can see how many of them exist. So you know whether or not, if you really want this, whether or not you should pass on it. And then finally, you have the faction resource, which is the number of resources provided by the card, which is in the bottom left and in the upper right. So if we pull this out really quick, you'll see that it has 2 symbols.
Right.
So this one provides 2 of the green faction. This other one provides 1. This one provides 1, and so on. To talk about the factions really quick, we have this faction here that kind of looks like a 5. They're the Seers, so I guess it's an S. They're the most technologically advanced faction. Then you have the Makers, which are these, which are, they believe in perfect constructions. They're focused on automation. Then you have, let's see here, I saw another one that I don't know where it went. Oh yeah, this one here, the sort of squares, those are the Preservers that focus on lavish lifestyles to promote philanthropic agendas, building community and cultural significance. And then you have the green ones, which are the Collective. They favor digital data streams. They're the smallest and weakest, but they have an unrivaled access to information. That's kind of the thematic element of each of them. All right, so once everyone's chosen a pile, then player turns begin. The play starts with the Warden and continues clockwise. So you get to pick first, but I get to go first. So I get the last pick of the piles, but I still get to move first because I'm the Warden. During your turn, you may launch 1 building from your hand. Launch buildings earn you victory points at the end of the game. To launch a building, you pay the required cost by discarding faction cards.
So you're not just building up, you're also then trying to launch your stacks.
I believe building is launching. So your space in front of you, there was a term for it. It's called the airspace.
Okay.
So the space in front of you is called the airspace, which are cards that you've launched.
Okay.
So you have cards in your hand, then you have cards that you've launched.
Okay.
So you pay the cost to launch. Cogs can be used to substitute for a faction cost. One-time use.
They're like wilds.
Yep. And then once you've launched 1 building and paid for it, you must discard down to 6 cards, and that's it. Once everybody's had a turn, we check to see if the end game has been triggered. If not, then whoever's the new Warden starts a new split, and we start the round over again. The end game is triggered when the launch deck is emptied, or any player has 6 or more buildings in their airspace at the end of their turn.
Okay.
You still complete the current round when someone triggers that condition, and then you just move to scoring afterwards.
Right.
Scoring is just victory point values of your buildings, as well as the extra score effects that you might have accumulated. The only thing I'm trying to figure out is what is a vehicle and how that works. Oh, I see. Vehicles are instant effects, so they would never go in front of you. They would play when you take the pile. that makes
You
sense.
mean like the lightnings?
Yeah, the lightning
Okay,
bolts.
so the lightnings are instants, right?
So I
okay.
think that's pretty much it. The rest of it is us just reading the cards and figuring out how to play something effectively.
Okay.
So we'll go ahead and take some time to look at this since I have to decide where I'm going to put my Warden token on. I'm guessing that what you want to do as Warden is place the Warden token on the pile that you find the least attractive.
Right.
Because you want someone to be tempted to take it because they get to be Warden. In
Right.
worst case, you get a cog and get to be Warden again.
Right.
That's what I'm guessing here.
Or if you do the opposite, and your Warden doesn't get too hot to get that way, it's completely.
Right. Alright, so since the first turn, I'm going to talk through my strategy here.
Okay.
I'm thinking that the stack that has no resources to spend is the least desirable because the other ones are giving you faction cards that you
Right.
can spend to build stuff.
Okay.
So I'm going to put my Warden token here
Right.
in the hopes that someone else takes it, or worst case, I get a cog.
What
which
does
will
the
help me
symbol
build
mean
stuff.
again? There's recurring, I forgot.
It's an
it's
ongoing effect.
right.
Yep.
Okay. So do I choose?
Yeah, so you can choose whatever pile you want.
I'm very attracted to the sexy yellow robot in the center.
That seems like a great choice, especially since it has a green card and you have
Yes.
green faction
It
cards
gives
to
me
spend.
resources, one is rare.
Yep.
So if I take
You
it?
just take the pile. Yep.
Does it go in my hand?
Yep, it becomes part of your hand,
Okay.
and then it goes to Daftaro to pick a pile. So we have, kind of pull these over closer for you. We have these three here, and then these four and these four. You can pick one pile to take into your hand.
Sure, I'll look out for it.
All right. So I didn't get any
Very clever.
faction cards, but I did
You get
a cog for myself.
Oh, okay. So the warden gets a cog. Okay.
And so now, starting with myself, you can
Yeah.
build stuff. Everyone who picked an instant card has to play it now. So I think you got one, right? So what does yours actually say? Each airship in your airspace is worth 3 instead if you also have an airship bay. Oh, I see. So it's just worth 2 points? I'm trying to figure out what this... I think it stays in play, actually. And then it has an instant effect. So I think you just get the airship. But it's not a building, so it doesn't count towards triggering the end.
Okay.
It's just like free victory points. But
Okay.
then you would also have this ability at the same time. Okay, so I also had one which was an airship, so it does the exact same thing. So I don't know if we can quite get this all on the camera, but I'm just going to kind of take this space and you can take the left side there.
Okay, all right.
So I have an airship which does the same thing. It's worth 2 victory points, and the airships are worth more if I have an airship bay.
Right. Okay.
So I can't afford any of the cards I just drew, so I'm going to pass.
Okay. So, my turn?
Yeah.
Well, so if I understand it, does this cost 2 in the upper left?
Yes.
And that's grants
2.
2.
Yep.
Well, I don't know if this is an optimal strategy, but because I want to see what this is like,
Yeah.
I'm saying I would play this for 2 resources, which is only one per
Seems
deck.
fine. Yeah.
And then I would place this Cloud Network
Okay. Which has a special endgame ability.
plus 3 victory points if you have a data node in your airspace.
Wow. So if you can get a data node by the end of the game, that'll be worth 5 instead of 2.
Right.
That seems
okay.
pretty great.
All right.
All right, so
And
this
that
just goes to the
discard.
discard pile.
Okay. So I built something.
You've
to see-
launched something, so you're
Right.
done.
I launched.
Now, Daftaro may or may not be able to launch something. No? All right. Right, so if you don't have anything to spend that faction card on, you might as well just hold on to it. All right, so as I'm the warden again, I have to deal out a new set here. So we have 1, 2, 3. I need to keep remembering to start dealing this down so that it makes sense. Here we go. So we got a lot of factions over there. Ooh, a lot of factions coming up this time around. Except for this one. I apparently am just always going to deal 1 stack that has no factions in it. Confirmed.
Yes.
I think, let me look at this. Yeah, I'm gonna put the Warden's token here. Maybe somebody will have some of these resources and want to go for it. But I need faction cards or I'm dead in the water.
You need resources.
Yeah.
And then I wanted to understand, so I put this over here, I launched it.
Yep.
Does this become one of the 6 stacks? Can I build stuff on top of it?
I don't think you build stuff on top of it. I think I don't know why it talked about card stacking. I think it's maybe just this. Yes, I took a cog when I took it last time.
Okay.
Yep.
So am I choosing?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Let's see. These are resources.
They're useless for those cards, but you may have something else.
Now, which is a data node?
I believe it's a card that'll say data node on it, is my guess. And
I'm
anything,
looking for them.
is it in all caps when it says data node on your card?
Yes.
Yeah, so my guess is similar to this. This says Airship Bay. I'm guessing there's a card that says Airship Bay on
okay.
it.
So I'm just keeping my eyes out for
Yeah.
a data node.
Exactly.
Whoa, okay. Copy the flag effect, but there are no flag effects out there. But this will go in my hand. I wouldn't necessarily, I have to pay 1.
So
if I
you
get
can
it.
do this at the end of the game, right? So at the end of the
right.
game, you can pick any flag effect that any player has and copy it,
Right.
which seems pretty powerful. Hi, how's it going, Crit Camp? Corn.
I think. Crit Camp!
This is our live, not live viewers from TwitchCon.
Well, since I don't want to take forever, I'm just going to take the one on the left because I want a dojo.
All right. So you now have 2 choices, once again. You can either take this stack and become the Warden, or you can take this stack. So you either get lots of faction cards, or you can get lots of stuff to build and another airship. All right. So you get this, which means you also get a cog, and then I will take these. Since I am currently the Warden for this turn, let me see what I can build, if anything. Hopefully I did not plan this terribly. I may have... Oh yes, yeah, so you can play your airship. Did you have any lightning cards in yours?
No.
Alright. Watching in the partner lounge, nice. Yes, make sure to show all of the partners in the partner lounge this stream live from
Yes.
TwitchCon. Sadly, I don't think that I can build any of these. So I'm going to have to discard 1 because I have 7 cards, and I need to get down to 6.
Okay.
So let's see here. Oh my god, I can't afford to discard that card. It's so good.
It looks like almost the minimum is 2 stuff for those 6.
Alright, I'll take the, I'm going to discard this beacon that would have been worth 9 if I had a landing pad at the end of the game.
Ow,
Yeah,
oh, the pain.
Unfortunately, I think that is the best move for me, because I'm more likely to build the other buildings.
Is it my turn?
Oh wait,
Does it go
hold
for
on.
me? Yeah.
I forgot I have a cog. That might change things.
Oh, yeah.
Let me double check and see if I can build something and not have to discard that. Yes, yes, I can build something. Okay. Oh, this is an interesting card. But anyways, I can spend a collective and a cog to build an assembly line, which is worth 3 points. And it has an ongoing ability, which, while it's in my hand, it's also a faction card. So I could have spent it as a faction card, I guess.
So this shows that it requires a green and one other.
Yeah. So I use the cog for that. And that gets me down to 5 cards, so I don't have to discard anything. Thankfully.
Okay. I'm going on the theory that it's better to play something than not play something. I have an assembly line.
Nice.
I can play one of these and one other color. Does that mean?
Yeah, I think that's a. I'll double check, but I'm pretty sure that means anything.
Right. So I could play
which actually means I didn't have to spend the cogs. So
Oh, okay.
maybe I'll throw in a different one after I
Okay.
confirm this. Yeah, so I believe you're right. That is a wild cost.
Okay,
However,
so-
just something to consider because I
Right.
found this in the rulebook is you may have end game things like the flag abilities that say like more points for buildings of certain factions. Wild costs do not count as every faction, but
Right.
if you have a card that actually has multiple different factions as its cost, it counts as all
Right,
of those
okay.
factions. So in fact, let me
Okay.
throw another one of these down as my wild cost so I can
Yeah,
keep
keep
my
that,
clock
right.
because it's more valuable.
Good idea. So I can play a seer and a little robot with a hammer
Yes, you're collective.
to put down an assembly line, which
Yep.
is what you had.
Yes,
You really want that, but I'm playing it.
I mean, that's fine.
Right.
I don't think
So
they.
I'm
I don't think they combo
Investing
together. so-
heavily in green.
All right. Do you have anything you can play here?
I think so. I think it's the last two cogs. I like my cogs.
Looking forward to
Do you have
using
any
my dojo.
faction cards you can pair with that cog? Yeah, these are faction cards. Anything that says faction on the side is a resource that you spend. So if you have something that costs this and something else, you can spend the cog. Oh, an airship bay, perfect. Yeah. So now all of your airships are worth 3 instead of 2, and the airship bay itself is worth 3. And you can take an airship from an opponent's airspace. Well, I wonder where that's going to come
Where
from.
that one's going.
So what are those instant cards, or those consist of as part of
The
the
airships?
tableau? Or are they
Yeah, they're
separate?
part of your tableau, but they're not buildings.
Okay,
So they don't
right.
count towards the 6. They're
Okay.
just things that you've launched.
Okay.
I believe basically the way it is all these instant cards are vehicles that you launch
Okay.
immediately
I'm
when you get them,
imagining
but you don't have to pay for them. They're
Yeah,
just
I'm
free.
imagining a skyline with buildings and airships floating around them.
Exactly, yeah.
And I'm building these things.
Hey, happy Fun Time Live!
Oh,
Welcome.
Hey
that's
there.
Western.
Alright, so everyone's below 6 cards.
Yes.
Or at 6 cards or less, yes. Alright, so as the warden, you are going to pick the piles. I'll go ahead and deal them just because I can reach them better. Alright, so 1, 2, 3, 4. I guess I dealt it differently, but I don't think it really matters.
Yes and no. I mean,
Yeah,
your shelf looked pretty well.
yeah. Just got distracted.
It's alright.
Wow, negative 2 points.
Oh, I want a pigeon.
Oh, but they're worth 1 instead of negative 2 if you have a rookery.
I see no data nodes.
Alright, so you put
Yeah.
your warden token on the one that you don't want to get stuck with, basically. Unless you really want to cog. So we have Temple, Foundry, alright. Okay. And then I choose first, so we have what am I looking for is the real question here. I think
Darn, okay, well that's not useful. Anything I can build with those 2 colors. No, that's not particularly good. Or that. That's not good. Oh boy.
tempted, so tempted.
I see a lot of things that don't match what I
Right,
have.
I am going to take this pile over here and let you have the expensive greens, unless you want to be warden.
Right. Those are expensive greens.
And I have none, so I wasn't going to get it on that game.
Right. That doesn't really help me either. Let's see, that's the... I think I'll try being warden, and I really want a pigeon,
All right.
so I can choose this.
Yeah.
Okay.
That means that Daftaro gets the third stack here.
So,
And as the warden, you get to go first. Oh, sorry.
does this happen now, or what happens with the pigeon?
Oh yes, the pigeon goes into play immediately.
Okay, each pigeon in your airspace is worth 1 victory instead if you also have a rookery. So I
So
really
basically,
want
they're
a
worth
rookery.
-2 points, but you're looking for a rookery.
Okay, I have to somewhere. Oh, so I get one of these too?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Every time you take the warden
Nice.
token, you get a call.
Okay, that's right.
As we're facing off against the mighty Air Force of Daftaro here,
Right.
with all of the airships going on.
I'm very impressed by that.
Yes.
Around my buildings, you see pigeons
Right?
pooping
They're
on
doing,
my
they're,
buildings.
yeah, they're pooping on your buildings.
Buildings.
That's why they're worth -2 points.
Yes, unless they have somewhere to poop. I have to build a poopery.
Yeah, that's. We're gonna remake this game.
Yes.
New building. The
All games
poopery.
should involve poop.
It's very hard to like figure out what this card can't stop for, you know?
Yeah. Oh, you don't have anything you can build.
Too bad.
That's rough.
I have a wonderful set of mismatch cards.
Yeah, I feel like this game goes one of 2 ways. Either you build something unless you get rid of like 3+ cards in a turn, and then you don't have to discard, or you get unlucky and you can't build anything,
Right.
and then you have to discard,
Yeah.
which is fine.
I'm at 6. That's the limit, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, you won't have to discard till the end of your turn. I'm at 8 right now,
Okay.
but I'm going to build something.
Isn't it 5?
It's 6. 6 max. Yeah, you're okay.
So that's here to see.
All right, so you're discarding 2? All right. Oh man, there goes some really nice expensive cards.
Yep.
The only ones in the game.
Okay.
It's just so expensive though.
Yeah, that's rough.
Never gonna be able to afford
All
it.
right. I am going to pay a maker and a collective to build a foundry, which lets me gain 1 cog immediately.
Ooh, nice.
And then that is it for me.
I can build Upkiss, so I have 6 cards. I can't
And
build
you're good.
anything.
All right. So as the warden, would you like to deal out our next piles?
Ah, okay.
Actually reach them.
All right, so
So 3 piles of 4.
okay.
It actually changes based on the number of players. Oh man, I wonder. The question is, where are you going to put the warden token?
Yeah. Exactly.
That
Yeah.
pile might end up being really good, and we might just counter draft it.
So I need.
Wow.
That is the only rookery in the game.
Oh god.
What would really suck is if you drew a pigeon as the last one,
Yeah.
and one of us was just like, "Oh, I'll take a pigeon and a rookery, sure."
So you can definitely. You don't.
Oh, and a data node.
And
oh
a data
no!
node. So. All right. Well.
But you don't want us to take it,
Yeah. So don't put it on that. I
right?
assume.
Yeah.
Is this the one that
So the question
you're
is,
totally gonna take it?
may indeed,
Holy
may
cow.
indeed.
Holy cow. Oh boy. Let's see. What does this tell me here? Markets. Oh, that's nice. That's a combination. Like this can go bad. Oh, I
Yeah.
see.
Yeah.
Right. And then.
Oh, and it's got a foundry on it, like the one I built, free cog. Oh, they both have foundries.
Yeah, they do.
So I just put this on whatever one. Let's see.
You basically want to put it on whichever one of these you think is not as good as the other, in the hopes that we will
I
take
think
both.
I just kind of feel that way about this.
Okay.
And I'm picking last.
Yeah. So you're
Well,
hoping that
all
gets
right.
around.
Oh yeah, all right. I won't count my pigeons.
Right? Before they hatch.
Yes. It's one of those things where I don't know how much that's going to benefit you, but it definitely does. Rookery is worth 3.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's
Rookery.
ne-
Each opponent may send you a pigeon.
So basically, when
can
you
send my-
when you play it,
Right?
then people can get rid of it. So if someone takes it, you're not completely screwed. If they actually build it, they
Right.
might just not build it.
Oh, okay.
But like, it is a 6-point swing for you to build it.
Yeah.
So it's up to you,
I
Deftaro.
think I'll take this stack right here.
I'm just gonna go for it.
Yeah.
Are there any instants in there? All right. Then. Yeah, I mean, I think you made a good choice
Yeah.
because I think I'm going to
Yes.
take that with the elite preserver in there.
All right. So now I got another cog.
There you go, and you get all those
And
cards.
then I have.
And you get to go first.
And I'm.
So hopefully you can build something.
I
with all
have
those
10
cards.
cards. And I discard at the end of my turn.
Yes, after you have built. That's important.
How many things can I build?
It's one building.
I can build one thing.
One building, yeah.
So I can't. Of these, I can only
You
build
may
one.
launch one building.
Okay.
But that launching, if you didn't have any instants in that stack, did you?
Oh,
It's worth checking because they would have played immediately
No.
for free. All right.
there's no instance. So let me sort my hand because
Yeah,
I'm at that
I've
point
been
where I
sorting
need
all of
to
my
sort.
faction cards at the beginning and trying to figure
yeah,
out.
well, I've never had to do that before. So
It's crazy.
What about this one? What's that? Oh, what's that? Oh, here's one that I need to. Ooh.
So you have
Wait a minute.
2 buildings. What does it actually say a pigeon is? Oh, it's a critter. I was trying to read that word upside down. That's great.
So it seems to me like
The
because
pigeon
I
is of the
have
critter class.
2 other green buildings,
Yeah, you can launch it for free.
I could launch this for free, but I can only launch one thing.
Right.
So,
So you may want to launch it, but if you can launch something else that spends
Yeah,
cards
that's
for your
true.
hand, it
Yeah.
may be beneficial.
yeah, I think I will launch something else. So I'm launching.
Remember, you have 2 pods, so you
Right.
can probably buy something super expensive, perhaps.
Yeah, that's true. I could spend it on that.
Just depends on
I really don't want that.
what will help you the most.
No, I just feel like doing this. I'm really enamored of robots.
All right,
So I could play this and a cog
for the foundry.
to get a foundry,
So
but
then
then
you
that
get
would
the
get the
cog
cog back.
Yeah, nice.
So then that goes out there.
All right, and now you have to discard down to 6.
Right, so I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7,
You
8.
didn't happen to have other faction cards in there that you wanted to spend instead of the cog. Just as a
Oh,
reminder.
because it was a
Because it's a wild.
Oh, yeah, I did.
All right, and that'll save you the card too.
Yeah, okay,
All right,
so.
perfect.
All right.
So you spent a
I
seer
forgot about
on a
that
maker.
again.
I know.
Right.
I did the same
So
thing.
now I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I
So you just
really
need to
kind
get rid
of
of
want
one.
this, yeah.
That's not too bad.
I'm gonna get rid of this one. It's
All right.
expensive.
Goodbye,
I don't
market.
have.
You didn't get the card that I just picked up, of which there's only one.
I feel about this game that I really want to call things just by their color
Right.
because I don't remember the names or.
I only remember the seers because it looks
Right.
like a 5 and an S.
Okay.
All right. I believe you're up, Deftaro.
Yeah.
All right. You're gonna play a jump gate. Okay. So first off, go ahead and pay for it. So 2 seers and a maker. Got it. Now an opponent, and I would guess that you get to choose the opponent, must choose a building in their airspace and swap it with the jump gate. So he has 3 buildings. I have 2 buildings. The pigeon is not a building.
Right.
So who would you like to choose?
So what's he's doing? He's swapping.
Yeah, swapping the jump gate swaps that building with someone else.
Ah, okay.
But we get to choose the building. Daftari just has to choose which of us makes that
Ah, okay. Because like for me, I tilted the fact that I want these two buildings.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. So who would you like to swap buildings with? Well, so John gets to choose. So if you want him to do it, he'll choose a building to send you. Is that what you want to do? All right. So which building would you like to give to Daftaro? And then you take the jump gate.
Okay.
All right. So you still have 3 buildings. You have 2 buildings. I have 2 buildings. It's my turn to build. I'm going to do something interesting. I'm going to build the wall.
Oh, that's nice.
For a maker and 2 cogs. While the wall is in your airspace, you may launch up to 2 buildings per turn. So I'm going to build a second building this turn.
That's what I wanted. Okay.
Now that I have built the wall, I am going to build...
You're encroaching on my airspace over here.
Right. I'm going to build the card that you gave me in my pile. So spend that. I will build a market. It's worth extra victory points for each of that faction building that I have in my airspace, which is currently none.
Oh, here's a card I should have gotten rid of. That's funny.
All right, and that gets me down to 5.
Right.
So now Warden, let's see some new piles.
Okay.
So now I have 4 buildings. You
Right.
have 3.
Right.
Daftaro has 2. The game ends at 6 for 1 person.
So this is for how many piles? 3.
3 piles, 4
right.
of each.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, another pigeon for the rookery person.
If it ever gets built, Daftaro might just be trolling you, holding on to it forever.
Double pigeon pile.
Oh, pigeons!
Double pigeon pile.
I do that too.
Oh my goodness. Can I just?
Meanwhile, just all the faction cards over here. A droid factory. That's interesting. Oh, and the data node that you needed. So where is the Warden card going to go? Is what everyone's interested in here.
Where's this gonna go?
Or yeah, the Warden token. Sorry.
Well, I definitely want that data node, which you guys all know.
We do know, yeah.
Yes. Now this one, someone with the rookery actually
Might want.
might actually want. I do not want it, unless I just want to run the table with pigeons. These are all remote.
Getting the pigeons would be really bad for you.
Yeah.
Because you know that the only rookery in the game is in Daftaro's
But I
hand.
can be the pigeon king.
But it'd be all negative points.
Yes.
So chances are you want to incentivize Daftaro.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
I'm putting it on the pigeons.
Worst case, you at least get if it goes all the way around, you get yourself a cog
Right.
to make up for all those points.
I got
So it
3
depends.
cogs.
It
man.
depends on if Daftaro would like to get potentially 3 free victory points by grabbing this pile and then playing the rookery at some point before the game ends, and a cog. So you've definitely incentivized it. Oh, and it has a faction card in that stack too, so that's helpful. I don't remember what faction the rookery requires, which is what makes this interesting.
Alright, it's my pick, right? Yeah.
Yeah, you pick first.
I don't feel in control of my fate.
Okay.
There's the data node.
Yep. I don't want negative 4 points, so I'm just gonna take this
I'm
pile.
getting the pigeons, baby.
Yeah. All these piles
Woohoo!
suck. Daftaro played us.
There we go. That's ugly. Do I get another
Right?
cog? Wait, I get these.
Yeah, you get those 2, and you get the. At least you have cogs. I have no
I'm getting
cogs,
another cog.
and I just drew 4 non.
I'm the cog king.
Yeah. I have a building you really want.
Oh boy.
This is rough. But time for you to build if you can.
Yeah. So how many more rounds do we have? Are we
At
getting
least 2 because
Okay.
it'll end when
Right.
I get to 6 or someone else, and I'm at the most right now.
Oh, that's interesting. It's an interesting card. Let's see if I built that. Oh, so what do I got? Do I have an assembly line? Do I have? No. Oh, it's so depressing. Let's see. It's interesting being able to copy abilities in other people's airspaces.
Yeah. Although, no, I'm the only one with a flag so far.
Right, yeah.
Although you could copy your own flag, but you didn't get the data node, so
I could.
you don't really want that one.
No.
And you don't really want mine either unless you get these.
This is just a disaster.
Yeah. I have a feeling Death Taro is going to win.
Yeah, I have a feeling like it too.
We'll see.
Fortunately, I have a lot of cogs, so now it's a matter of,
It just depends on how the piles turn out.
yeah. Well, I'm just going to spend my cogs
Might as well.
to
Go for points.
put this puppy out. I mean, it's kind of cost all my
Droid Factory.
Yeah, the droid factory. So at least I'll get a cog if I put out another building.
While Droid Factory is in your airspace, you gain 1 cog when
I
you
would-
launch one of those.
I would have really wanted it to. I'm just going to put that out so I
Alright.
can spend my cogs.
Nice. Hey, and it's worth 3 points.
Yeah, it's worth 3 points.
Makes up for a pigeon and a half.
Good lord.
All right, Death Taro. A gem refinery. This is the card that you want, John.
Oh, I have to discard a card?
Oh yeah. I'll take those. 2 and 1. Perfect. So this card is worth plus 2 victory points for each remaining cog at the end of the game.
Yeah.
Which you would love.
Each of yours?
Yeah, each of yours.
Okay, yeah.
I can't build anything, so I'm gonna figure out what the heck I'm discarding.